Quiet Colorado community rocked by a tragedy.
11-year-old Gannon Stauch disappeared from his home.
Gannon's stepmother, Letecia Stauch, is charged with his murder.
Stauch allegedly killed her stepson and then drove his body across the country.
Now, the jury will decide her fate.
She has a tough road ahead.
As a family searches for justice.
She will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done.
I can, however, say without hesitation that the facts in this case are the most horrific I have ever seen.
You remember the last time you saw Gannon?
Yeah.
So tell me what you saw.
Nothing negative.
So tell me what you saw.
I saw nothing negative. I saw nothing with Gannon.
You're telling me nothing. You're saying nothing.
Okay.
Just tell me what you did see, the positive.
Gannon was fine. Gannon.
Where was he? Was he standing?
No, you don't tell me what I see. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
How Gannon was.
Okay.
Okay. Gannon was fine. Gannon, nothing was wrong with him. Gannon was happy. Gannon is my favorite stepchild. My favorite.
Letecia Stauch was arrested on March 2nd, 2020 on suspicions of allegedly killing her stepson, Gannon Stauch, who was 11 years old at the time of the crime. She talks so passionately about her Gannon, yet her search history is dubious to say the least. You would not have imagined such an endearing mother to also look up things like, "I hate my stepson." Least of all, you would not expect her to kill him. Movies and shows have long warned us about one relationship in particular. Whenever you hear the word step as a precursor to a social relationship, the assumption is often bad, like stepfather, stepmother, stepbrother, or stepsister. We naturally become skeptical without knowing the reason behind it. This happens because of people like Letecia Stauch, who have forever twisted our perception in a horrid manner. However, we must not allow such despicable people to cloud our judgment and cause biases. Being a step-parent naturally does not conclude that they will treat their children badly. Letecia is nothing but one bad fruit in a very big basket. As you follow this case, you need to remember that she is the evil rarity of a case. But before we step into the interrogation, you will see her cunning reactions when she initially reported the crime. Even without a lot of information, it was obvious who may have been involved in the kidnapping of Gannon Stauch. On January 27, 2020, the first call was made to 911 after Letecia filed Gannon to be missing.
I took the covers that he was laying down, and I just threw it on there because I got my daughter out and the dog's out. She was working, and it was something.
You got everybody now.
I know. It was something that we were just like.
Did he take his bike?
No.
Okay, because somebody saw a little kid on a bike. They posted it, but I didn't know if he brought it.
Well, he did, unless he took it sooner and brought it back because Lena ends up getting a bike.
Okay.
And rides the bike because hers had broke. When she ran into him. I say ran into him as in not physically,
right.
But she somehow got his bike because hers wouldn't work. So he could have at one point.
So they were here.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go pick him up for dinner. Okay.
Blue
and he never
and black.
went home. They thought he was at his friend's house. He was like,
yeah.
He just started sleeping. So
we have him on one.
And he was never there.
There's one picture someone said he was on.
Okay.
And he was taking the switch.
Do you mind if my partner looks around the house real quick?
Yeah.
Because kids, they hide.
Thank you.
They get hide.
What was unknown at that time, she had already killed him. The body cam footage you just saw was an alarming secret to it. Gannon's lifeless body was lying in the storage room behind the boxes when the house was being inspected. Had a more thorough search been done at this moment, it would have revealed that Gannon had died there and then. But this cannot be blamed on the first responding officers at the scene, as they only came to address a missing child or a juvenile runaway case at that moment. Nonetheless, Letecia's response is the last way to react in such a harrowing situation. Understandably, the officer at the scene took longer time than usual to check out the house because her response was truly inappropriate and confusing. After reporting Gannon missing, suspicion started to rise, and there were enough leads to build a case against Letecia as a prime suspect on first-degree murder charges, though everyone remained hopeful to find Gannon alive.
Oh, we are going to record this. Just for your protection. So Letecia and John Grusing with the FBI met you in the mall parking lot. Do you know why you're here? Did they inform you, the officers, of why you're under arrest?
I'm under arrest.
Yes. For Gannon Stauch. A warrant was issued out of Colorado.
Okay, but no, someone could have just called me. We didn't have to have like a big scene. I would have called you or whoever.
Yeah, and apologize for that. Because of the nature of the warrant, it being a murder warrant, and that's what I'd like to talk with you about today. That's why we're not having a cast of thousands here and whatever, is we would like to get to the bottom of what happened there. I know that a lot of things have gone on with your life, a little bit of how this turns out. Okay, but because you were arrested and you're not free to leave, I need you to sign an advice of rights before we can talk.
Well, I mean, so I'm getting charged with what now?
So you were charged in the judge in Colorado Springs signed off. So the way this case worked was El Paso County got the original case. They didn't have enough manpower to work it.
Okay.
So they called the FBI. I'm part of for the FBI, an extension of the profiling unit, and I came in and assisted. And I've been helping for about the last 3 weeks.
Okay. So
our evidence response team, you've probably seen that on the news, has been doing some searches, etc. And then other FBI agents have been writing warrants.
Okay.
So a lot of warrants have been written. We've gone through the court. El Paso Sheriff's Office and FBI have worked together. And we found enough, you call it probable cause, for a warrant to be issued. So that's why you're here today.
Okay, a warrant for what, though?
It was for the murder.
What murder?
Gannon Stauch.
So Gannon is murdered.
That's what the evidence shows.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share with you evidence, but we can't have a conversation unless you're advised of your rights.
Okay, what are my rights?
So this is an advice of rights form. I'll fill it out at the top. And you don't have to answer any question.
Oh, I am.
Okay, so I'm not going to force you to answer anything. If you want this interview to be done, it's done. So we're in South Carolina. I'm not going to force you to say anything.
Okay, so I had already had reached an attorney, but all the information is in my phone.
So it's up to you. I'm not going to force you to say.
I mean,
if you don't,
I can talk to you, but I mean, see, the last time I asked for an attorney, talking to them, I wasn't allowed that after I asked.
That's not how this is going to go. This would be a conversation.
You have more integrity being with the FBI that you would do that.
I've got a family to protect,
okay,
so I'm not going to violate any laws.
I don't mind doing that at all. But at any point, I would like to call my attorney if I felt like. Is that okay?
That is okay.
Okay, so can I write that in somewhere, or?
Well, that's this one right here. If you decide to answer any questions on a lawyer present, you have the right to stop at any time. Okay. So, and if you need food, water, whatever else, this is not, we're not going to have people with guns standing outside trying to intimidate you. I want this to be your statements and our conversation. Okay.
On March 2nd, 2020, Letecia Stauch was arrested in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and FBI agent Jonathan Grusing interrogated her. The FBI had investigated a number of crimes against children that fell under the federal jurisdiction. At this point, though, there was little hope of Gannon's survival. This case was being considered as a child abduction case. It should also be kept in mind that this case was all over the news and hence got the attention of the FBI faster. This was the first time she was being interrogated after being arrested. Coming to the interrogation right from the beginning, going by her responses, you could never guess that she's a suspect, or at least in the middle of a heartbreaking event within her own family. Letecia is alarmingly talkative and acts unfamiliar with the situation and tries to act innocent, while she is the only one who knows the actual fate of Gannon. Despite that, she smiles when Agent Grusing mentions the possibility of Gannon's murder. This is a person whose entire psyche will baffle you at every point because it is far from being human.
So, I was thinking of a lot of things to say to you today because I've been helping, I've been involved. I've unfortunately worked a lot of missing kids cases. That's why they called me to do this.
Okay.
A lot of time with Mark, who was the dad. Dylan, who actually was in Colorado Springs with Mom, went to go see Dad. This was in November of 2012.
Right.
And then he disappeared. So it's a lot like what happened here. What I think happened with Mark is friends, and Mark wouldn't let him go.
Okay.
And I think Mark got upset. I think Dylan did some things that irritated Mark. I think there was just a punch in the face sort of thing.
Right.
And I think things went downhill from there.
Well,
and I'm not saying
I
that's
just
what
want to
happened
say
with
to you,
you.
I can help you because what you're charging me with is not, or whoever, is not the case.
Okay.
Gannon is alive, okay, and I can help you.
Okay, great.
But see, here's the problem. When I reached out to people about getting help, I said, hey, I need someone who's going to help me to help you guys. I couldn't get that from anyone at all.
We're happy to help you.
Okay. So I understand you might say you have like whatever evidence that you might say you have, but that's not a case. I did not hurt my child. Okay. Need more assistance besides just FBI. You're probably going to need some DEA. Probably need a lot of help.
Well, I'm happy to get whatever help.
Okay.
How do you know?
But I can't help you unless people are willing to help me. And I did offer every opportunity to sit down and talk with not only my husband, but with Landon to try to come up with the best thing to do it. I really did. And I've been begging every single day, please, please, please don't say this. Okay? I know you're expert in your field. Okay? I know you may say you have whatever evidence you have, but it's just not true. Okay? It's not. Okay? That's the truth.
Okay.
That is the very truth. And every day that went by, I had to do nothing but not only protect myself, but protect my family in this, protect other people in this, and that's just what it's been.
So I think our biggest problem is what happened at the house then.
At the house?
Yes.
Well, there's nothing that would have happened at the house that has anything to do with what I'm talking about at all. That has nothing to do with anything. Because you guys have clearly put out this information about Gannon not coming home and then this and that and the other. And I get, like I said, you're experts. I get people with forensics are experts. I understand that. But it's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. And until I know that I got to get help from some people other than someone just having me in a room.
You got to get help to do what?
I got to get help to give everyone what they need because I'm going to need my mom protected. Okay? I'm going to need my brother and sister protected. And most importantly, I'm going to need Harley protected. And on that same note, I'm also going to need other people in Colorado protected. And see, people say FBI can offer that protection.
We can.
How?
If it involves if it involves finding an 11-year-old, then we can.
And it means that we can have new identities.
It does. Yeah. I've had to do that before. We call it an informant, but we can do it for the general public. Who else would you trust?
I don't know at this point, sir. I don't know.
After watching this video, you would become proficient at recognizing a narcissist around you. You will closely see the most narcissistic woman ever to be interviewed as we break down the stages that liars navigate through and strategies they employ to evade responsibilities. One of these techniques is denial. This is a common theme in the interrogation where Letecia continues to shamelessly deny any involvement in the disappearance of Gannon. It is also to be observed that the placement and setting of this particular interrogation room is especially lucrative to get the most accurate responses. A known factor is that rooms with black-blue hues are used to induce psychological distress in the subject. The room is also small and can create a claustrophobic effect. And the one-way mirror allows other people to look into the interrogation in real time. All these factors combine to put a lot of pressure on the suspect and make it a perfect environment for a confession. Though as we move ahead with the interrogation footage, you'd notice that Letecia is immune to it. She seems to have made herself comfortable almost instantly, and proceeds to ask for help and what the agent can do for her before anything else. She also subtly insinuates at the possibility of a new identity.
There's nothing that happened at any house, nothing that happened at any house that would have hurt, harmed, murdered, done anything to anyone. Okay? Wrong place, wrong time.
You were in the wrong place, or Gannon was?
I was.
What about Gannon?
We all were in the wrong place. Even my family was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Even Lena, even Harley. Okay? There's all of us in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I swear to you on that.
So,
but I got to get
just like you have trust issues, let me tell you where I am.
Okay.
So I'm with the FBI, where when a child goes missing, if they're underage,
right,
then we can get involved, and it can be even a kidnapping. So if Gannon is moved from one point to another without his, will, then it's a child kidnapping.
Right.
And so that's what we're working this as. And with me as a federal employee, with me working a federal case, because right now it's filed with the district attorney,
right,
but the U.S. attorney could file it as well.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
The U.S. attorney is the federal prosecutors.
Gotcha.
Right now it's on the state. When you're talking to me, we are recording this for your integrity and mine.
Right.
But if you'd rather not say something, if I would rather you just say I don't want to answer it instead of telling me something that's not true.
Okay.
Because there's something called false statements, which is it's U.S. Code 1001, to where if you lie to us during an investigation, that can be a year of prison time.
Right.
So that's why I said on this last one, if you want to not answer a question, I'm not going to push you.
Okay.
Okay. So with these people, taking Gannon or whatever else, if it's not true, just say I'd rather not answer that. Okay, because we're different than your local detectives and whatever else. It's not a felony to lie to them.
Okay.
Okay, so my goal, though, is to find Gannon.
Right.
And if you need protection, if there truly is someone out there, we can provide that.
That's not me.
What happened, though, I will need you to explain what happened from that night.
Which night?
The night that he disappeared. Because I've looked at all the news stories. We have been listening to your phone for the last month. It probably doesn't surprise you.
Okay.
We're listening to other people's phones as well, trying to find this kid.
Okay.
And we know from the internet and whatever else, there's a lot of stories out there. So if someone truly took Gannon, though, we need to know the real story, because you put out quite a few different stories.
We will also take you through a series of stages through which a liar operates. To help you better understand, we have created the acronym FEB. The first stage, and the expansion for F, is fabrication. Here, the person goes all in with their lies. They will fabricate evidence in all directions, just like Letecia. You may think that she's creating false evidence for the sole motive of escaping the penalties of her crime, but that's not true. She's doing this because she gets a twisted sense of enjoyment. And comparing the way she talks now to how you saw her speak in the earlier body cam footage is enough to observe that she is a compulsive liar and has a habit of lying. And it's when she's in her zone of fabricating evidence that you will see that she has a very expansive body language. She's using her arms to express almost every word. Her facial expressions are excessive to the context of her speech, and she's moving a lot in general. This is the environment she thrives most in. She believes that she's getting undistributed attention from the agent while lying to his face. Agent Grusing has already established that he does not believe the statements Letecia has made so far, and that he knows that she is somehow involved in the disappearance of Gannon, as he takes a more polite approach to interrogate her in the beginning.
We heard a lot of the stories to Al.
To Albert?
Mm-hmm.
You mean like talking to him? Oh, okay. So let me just explain that to you, and you might think that's like super, like.
I'm not going to judge you here, Letecia.
Whatever. To him was the reason I already knew someone was listening to him, but because of him not ever being supportive, and I tried originally to talk to him when he first got there, that was the only reason I said those things to him, was just because I was out of anger and out of hurt and not being able to have support. It was nothing to do with I'm sitting here going to tell you these stories. That was just anger, stupidity, testing. And I already knew, if you heard it, you heard me say a lot of times, I know people are listening, because I know the same time that someone called, every time I could hear people.
Right.
I knew that. So me saying those things to him was just being what is the word you want to call it? Selfish or facetious or whatever you want to call it. Just because I was hurt by him not wanting to work together to figure this out, because I did have originally initial different thoughts on certain things, and that was me trying to basically read him and try to figure the situations out. So I understand that you may have heard those or whatever you may have heard, and that's okay, because that totally was not it. That was not me trying to be. Right. That was just being stupid to him.
So I have a question for you in regards to that. Were you of sound mind? I mean, did you have are you undergoing any treatment for anxiety or any depression or anything like that right now?
I mean, like, you mean, like, I've had anxiety since I was like 16, 17-ish maybe, but like, as far as like, undergoing like any kind of special treatment or, you know, like sometimes I might have to take like lorazepam or something like that.
Right.
But, I didn't see any like counselors or like anything for any kind of like depression and then plus two, like right now, well, I'm sure if you already got medical records, I'm 8 weeks pregnant, so I can't take any kind of like, I mean, I wish I could because then it would help a lot with anxiety, but I can't. No.
Okay.
But
so you were of sound mind when you were talking to Al. You were upset with him and upset with the situation of him not being by your side through this whole thing.
Right. But then at the same time, like, I have to sit back and think that, you know, in a person's brain, you hear 100 different things. You do get like, miscombobulated and just try to like do whatever. And I just wanted him to know, because he knows, like, I've been taking care of our kids like for so long while he was gone and their mom was gone, and I'm not here to bash either one of them. They had a lot of different separate situations going on that I've always taken care of the kids, and so there's been times I've protected them from so many people.
You basically had to raise them on your own because he was gone a lot.
Well, he was gone a lot, and Mom was doing whatever she was doing, you know. So with that, like, I've had to step in and protect them a lot. So many times.
It was shortly after Gannon was reported missing that suspicions arose around Letecia. Not only did she have the most unnatural responses in the situation, but she kept changing her stories. Initially, she mentioned a guy named Eduardo, who she claimed had taken Gannon. When this story did not suffice, she mentioned yet another man named Quincy Brown, who she was about to meet through Craigslist to buy an exercise bike in Douglas County. In a call with Al Stauch, her husband and biological father of Gannon, she said that Quincy got into an accident with Gannon and kidnapped him. This is the second technique that Letecia is deploying. She is deflecting the blame on other people as she goes. Since Letecia was a prime suspect, all her calls were being monitored.
So, but then you keep sending me messages, emergency, we can fix this right now, but then you never tell me anything.
Number two, that's the second thing. We know that, all right? Anything I haven't done. All right, so why come when I gave them the information that I gave them, why did they not look into it? Why did they not believe it? Why?
What information about Quincy Brown?
Anywhere.
Are you talking about Quincy Brown? What information are you talking about?
No, I did not.
What information?
Okay, you just said they don't tell you anything, right? That's what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
So, which means they would have gotten information from me.
Okay, so what information was it?
That I told them they have not covered any areas except only the areas that I drove.
The call played here had been staged as the officers wanted a proper timeline of events from Letecia that she had failed to give so far, but all they got was a set of new lies.
What kind of dad would you say Al was to Gannon or is to Gannon?
Oh, he's a good dad. Like, I mean, as far as like being like there for him and like, you know, how can I say it? Like, if he says, hey, I want to go do something, Albert works a lot, so he's tired and his hours are like kind of, you know, up in the air here and there. But for the most part, he like is always trying to make sure he put, you know, like the kids, military first, and always will be, and that's the mindset. And then,
did you go into the marriage knowing that? That military was first?
Well, I grew up like knowing that my stepdad was here. Actually, that's why I was looking at that guy's name. But my stepdad was here growing up in the Air Force Base. So I lived on like a lot of Air Force bases and things like that. So like I maybe didn't understand it from parent perspective. I mean, I'm sorry, spouse perspective, like my mom's perspective. Right. But I did understand it from like a child perspective. But the thing about it was Albert didn't have to like go be deployed or anything like that. It was mostly like work through the night type thing. So it was like we were blessed in that way of not having to, you know, like have to see him go overseas or something like that. Right. That was the good part.
And you guys have been married 6 years, 5 years?
5 years.
5 years. And you came to the marriage with Harley.
Right.
Yeah. And then Elena's the youngest.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then we had like maybe I think 4 or 5 want to like kind of midterm miscarriages because we always try to like have kids. And I don't know, like something must have happened like when I get to a certain point. So we would have had more kids.
Right.
But yeah.
Do you think Al was faithful to you? Was he cheating on you?
I don't like. We never had like any conversations until like, of course, Mad like recently. But like prior to that, we never had like fusses or it might be something like Albert was the type of person when he got to work, he just liked to come home. He wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go do this with people. He just wasn't that type of person, and that was the good part because he wasn't. You know, like, not saying you can't. Like, I know, sure, you might say if a football game's on, you might want to go and watch with your friends.
Right.
But usually, for the most part, we'd do it together or go over there and do something together. But it was never really, like, having our own people that we did things with and also kind of together. So we never, like, had issues or anything like that. Most of the time, but the issues that we always had was I never wanted the kids to ever come back here a lot of times during, like, their breaks. And we would get like, I don't want to say arguments about it, but he would always say, well, I have to, I'm obligated, to do these things.
So you don't think he was cheating on you prior to this whole thing going on with Gannon? Or did you suspect?
That Albert was cheating on me?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's been times in the past where I saw that he's talked to other women, like on messages and things like that. But then he's also, like, you guys have my phone in the past, you would have saw that he's always apologized for, like those things, like saying.
Were you guys considering divorce, you and Albert?
I didn't know anything about any kind of divorce. Like, I know, like, we use the term loosely, because there was a lot of stress having to deal with, like, the situation with Landon. There was a lot of stress because, like, we fought so hard and so long to get kids to, like, a safe, situation. So it was very hard to, like, you've read someone and they're so emotionally, like, upset about the kids not being with us and we not being able to protect them that it was kind of hard. It took a lot, toll throughout that time frame of, like, Alaska. I'm sure you know about the time in Alaska and things like that. So during that time in Alaska and stuff like that, it was very hard to like have to see him be so upset from so many miles away. And, we get calls that kids didn't have a place to stay. We get calls that there was guns in the back of their car and people were being arrested. And so that took its toll in the terms of, like, figuring we should not have to, like, go through these things.
Right.
But then once, like, we got to Colorado, we all could be in, like, one place. And then it was like first it was like kind of hard because we've been, like back and forth to Alaska for so long. Because, if you know the background, I had the kids here for their school year for Gannon and Lena. So it was Lena's, was it first grade year? And Gannon's fourth grade year. Yeah. So they would have went to school here in Myrtle Beach. So I had them here with us then. And so still with that, it was us like being apart, going back and forth, traveling on holidays and things like that. So that would have been the most difficult time. Like, so when we got to Colorado, it was just like, okay, we're here. We are doing things together. And we said stupid things to each other. Like, I don't even want to say on camera, but like the things that we could do to be like, okay, we'll forget all this. Or if you do this, we'll forget all this.
Right.
But it's just stupid, silly stuff, Nothing that we would have been.
So it seems like you guys had a pretty solid marriage then.
Besides
him being gone a bunch.
Which is why I was so upset about not being, like, supportive, because I know that, like, when I tell you we went, like, debt, money, spending things to have attorney fees for, like, the custody, Gardner Litem or Oline, whatever it is, the gal. Like, we spent so much money and doing all those things and, like, working together to do all that. And it was so, I guess, like, upsetting that he wasn't. So I did have anger, fire out stupid stuff because I was so pissed and, like, really wanting to, like, talk with him or Landon, like, together so I could, like, just explain, like, hey, this is what I think we can do in this situation. So it was just me trying to get him to talk to me, like, privately.
One of the most condemning things that Letecia did was search for the most suspicious things on the internet. The reason that the agent brings these questions is to get a better understanding of the situation and build a motive from there. Gannon was Al's and his ex-wife Landon Buller's biological son. After Letecia married Al, she took most of the responsibilities of raising the children. The following are some of the things she searched for. You can see how clearly frustrated Letecia was of the added responsibilities, and this may have been the motive of the killing. Another stressor that can be sensed from the searches is the talks of divorce at home.
What about you or Al?
I don't know anything other than when I told you about lorazepam. But see, the thing about lorazepam was they might give it to me and I might not get it again for 6 months. And like it might be 30 tablets, but it's only for like panic attacks or things like that. As far as Albert, I know he has the gout. So I know I don't even know what it's called.
Right.
I'm sure it's nothing that.
But nothing that he could, Gannon could mix up medications with or whatever in the morning. Take somebody else's meds or anything.
Not that I'm aware. Now there's stuff in the counter from like probably old stuff or like, Harley had her wisdom teeth taken out. I think Albert did, but I'm pretty sure he might have been smart enough to get rid of that stuff. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But none of us had like any what you want to call hardcore drugs or anything like that.
That's why I'm asking you that, because of the bath salts deal that he came up with. That was on the hike day, wasn't it?
So the bath salt thing was just totally because they did this drug class at school, which is the same class that my 5th grade did too. And then sort of these people came in and they dressed up in they were professionals. They are medical professionals. They dressed in their outfits and all those things. And they let the kids pretend they were working on whatever you call those things, as if they were doing CPR and all that. And during that time frame, they went over all these different drugs. So they talked about what your life is on crack. They talked about doing cocaine, all these. It was very, very in depth for 5th grade. But at the same time, you got to think it was probably a good thing to kind of talk to kids.
So was
about.
Gannon telling you about this, or did you find out from a teacher, or how did you find out they had this in-depth conversation?
Well, I knew because they did it at our school first. So they did it at our school first. Mm-hmm. So it was something, once they found out they did it at our school and they saw all the cool pictures and things like that, other teachers wanted to know about it. So when the other teachers wanted to know about it, they, went around different schools and they signed I think Albert signed a permission slip, or maybe sent an email to the teacher or whatever, that it was okay for him to do.
So was Gannon fascinated with the bath salt thing, or how did that conversation happen? Because I know that seemed to be important, during the hike and afterwards and whatever.
Well, he was okay, so Mike apparently would deliver these packages, and we never knew what they were. We were told meat, we were told whatever. We don't know. But Albert would always talk to Gannon about anytime people had anything to do with drugs and things of that sort. He would always say these are bad people. If you see anything like this is bad things.
Right.
Gannon already had some sort of base foundation about it, and because he had that sort of base foundation about it, he always had questions because I think it sounds so small,
right.
That, and that was always his main concern, is that he was wanting to know because. Is Baby Nova going to be okay? Nova's right. Is Baby Nova going to be okay? And that was his main concern in that aspect, was wanting to know these things because he was just curious of how all these things worked.
So were you guys on the hike when he brought it up, or where were you?
He had already brought it up prior to the hike.
Okay.
He had already said something when he came home after this.
Was it a concern for you? Tell me what he said and how your conversation went.
Honestly, sir, I don't remember. I just remember he was telling us about the different things that they were talking about. And then I was like, oh, did you guys do this? And they would be like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, did y'all do this? So it was kind of mimic the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So we did talk about that a lot.
Was that before hike, you said?
Yeah, leading up to it, before the hike, there was a lot of talk about it, for a little bit. And then, of course, at the hike, I think he said a few things.
What did he say?
I just remember he was talking to me.
And was it concerning to you?
Like
what he was saying, like he really wanted to try these things, or what?
Like, I didn't think anything about him wanting to try any of it or to do anything with it. I know that he said something about it, and I gave him a bath bomb.
When he said something, what did he say?
He just asked me about, in general, about if we had bath salts. Because, to be honest with you, he had already pooped how many times in his pants.
So he said that after he pooped on the hike?
He pooped a couple of times on the hike, yeah. Like, when I say poop, I don't mean like, I don't want to be like graphic, but just a little bit to where it's uncomfortable and whatever. Right. And so the whole thing about bath salts was just, I think he just wanted to like relax because he ended up taking 2 baths.
Letecia, Gannon, and Lena, another stepchild of Letecia and Gannon's sister, had gone for a regular hike in the Garden of Gods. While being there, Gannon mentioned bath salts, which is a common street name for a synthetic drug. The whole point of the conversation was that in an awareness class about drugs in school, Gannon learned about this particular drug and told Letecia about it when he was talking about his day. In return, she confused this with bath bombs because she thought Gannon would need a bath. She had mentioned this unnecessary detail during that day with Al on text messages. It is believed by many analysts of the case that this was an attempt by Letecia to give the runaway boy a drug angle to make it more plausible.
So that helps with the bath salts. And I'm trying to see how Gannon reacted to these little things that happened to him until he went missing. Mm-hmm. The candle incident. Can you tell me about that?
Okay, so Gannon wanted to, I don't remember if he wanted to stay up 30 minutes. I can't remember. There was something he did that allowed him to earn some extra time. There was something he did. But Albert had grounded him from playing the Switch. So he wasn't allowed to, play a Switch or whatever. He was only allowed to, like if he wanted to watch an extra movie or something like that he had earned.
Right.
Well, on the hike earlier that day, he was so helpful with me, and people think, sick and he's still whatever, but I have serious stomach issues and still have to operate. But he was so helpful with, taking care of the dogs and stuff. And I had told Gannon that, so like that Sunday is the day that Kobe had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I remember that day too.
So we sat around and, we had like, before we left, we were like on the sofa and I'm just like crying and he's like, why are you crying? And we're just like, he didn't know who that was. Like he knew the name, but not like growing up in like my generation to like know who that was. So we just sat there and like talked about it. And I told him, like, Kobe had all girls. And so again, I started relating in the terms of being like, oh, that's, like me, I have all sisters. And so, we were talking about that. And then in between some of those questions might have been certain questions that led to what he was asking me about what went on at school in that thing, in that talk.
Right.
And so that led into on the walk, on the hike that day about what we had talked about. So then that evening, I don't remember what he did, but I remember I said he had 30 minutes of something extra. And I knew it wasn't his Nintendo or things like that at the time because he wasn't supposed to earn that back until the next day. And so then we had, I think I was upstairs, Harley wasn't there because Harley had to work until, which I'm sure you already know this. Harley had to work until, I think it was like maybe 10, 15 years, so whatever. And then Gannon had, I think, what was he doing? He was doing something, I remember. So I go back upstairs, then I hear the machine was saying, like, beep, 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 like, is the zone is coming in the house.
Okay.
So I put the code in thinking that the last alarm thing went off. There was no doors open or, none of that stuff. No doors open. So then I go back where Lena was at and I see she was faking sleeping, but not really sleeping. And then, but she had like the cover over her head a little bit. And so like she was doing like whatever. And so then I hear the thing saying fire. Like
does it actually say fire?
It said fire.
Okay.
So that was the crazy thing because I never had heard. I didn't know what. I thought it would just be like.
Right, like a siren.
But I don't know if it was those detector things saying fire or if it was the actual machine thing saying fire. But it was just like fire, 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 whatever. So then I run back in there and I look and I don't see anything language or I don't see anything. And I look downstairs and I don't see anything. And it was still going. So I grabbed Lena. I'm going to tell you exactly wrong, but I'm pretty sure I grabbed Lena first. And I grabbed the dog. I gave her the keys. think that's how it went. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it was in that order somehow. And we run out to the truck. I feel like either I open the door. I don't remember. Somehow they get to the truck.
Okay.
And then I run back downstairs because at this point I already know that there's smoke. And so I run back downstairs and Deanna was awake but not awake. Like, you know how you can almost like be asleep but not asleep type thing. And
so he's in his bed?
No. He wasn't in his bed.
Where was he?
He was on the sofa.
On the sofa.
Right. So he was on the sofa. And so like when I pull the cover, I pull Gannon with the cover. And so at this point in time, then I put the fire that's out.
So what did the fire look like?
It wasn't like huge.
Where was it? In the carpet? On the sofa?
I feel like it was on like one of the covers.
On the covers? Was the cover on the sofa though, or was it on the floor?
I don't remember. I just remember it was in a small location. It wasn't a big enough fire to like.
What color was it? Do you remember? Was it yellow, red, orange?
I don't remember what color. It wasn't in a color to like. I mean, it wasn't a color. Wasn't
because I think blue burns the hottest. Then you have stuff. If stuff gets involved in the fire, you have a yellowish or reddish color.
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
I don't remember.
Can you show me how tall it was? Like, do you remember?
It wasn't tall.
Wasn't tall?
I don't feel like it was that tall. I mean, but my tall might be different from your tall, so I don't want to say.
Still, a fire's going to freak you out.
Right. Yeah. So when I pull the cover, I pull him with the cover too, and we run out.
Did you put out the fire or no?
I know that we took the covers, both of us. When he sees what's going on, we took the covers and like we smashed down on the fire. Like on it, yeah. Because my only thought was oxygen, put it out.
Right.
That was all I could think about. Like, put it out, whatever.
Did it take much? Sorry to interrupt. Did it take a lot to put it out or no? Or did you just smother it and then move?
I don't know.
Or was it something in between?
Was there what now?
Something in between. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Something in between?
Like in between, just it happened real quick, or you had to fight it for a while? Or?
Oh, it wasn't like fighting for a while. Like there was already a bunch of covers on the side that that I had grabbed them all and put over here, which is why the whole thing was bottled with covers. There was like different covers bottled everywhere. So it was like stuff there. And then I run, and he's running behind me. So as I'm running up, he like trips or whatever, but he's right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think I exit back out the garage, I feel like.
So the truck was in the garage?
No. It was out front. I'm saying
front.
like I think I exited back out the garage. Because I feel like I just ran back to that door. I'm not 100% positive. I know we ran out. Then Gannon runs right out behind me. And when I turned around and I'm saying something to him because I'm like, hey, because in my mind I don't remember if I had gotten the dogs, even though I had already had grabbed the dogs. And so like I don't remember what we were saying, but we were all in a frantic, whatever. He jumps in the passenger side, and I'm in the driver's side of the truck.
Okay.
Lena is in the back, and at that point we drive off. So we drive off for like a minute maybe, and then we drive back. But there's no gas in the truck.
So was anybody burned from that?
So Gannon had Gannon had little burns on his arms from that, and then but at the time, see, Gannon always lays with like his either with like his underwear on or like something like that. So at the time when we ran out, I feel like did he have a shirt? I don't remember if he grabbed a shirt or grabbed another cover when we ran out or whatever. But I knew that he had some burns on his arm, but I knew they weren't bad, like burns that were bad. They were just like if you peel it a little bit or whatever.
Were they discolored then? Was his skin reddish, pinkish? What was it? Did you see it then? Or
no, it was not till later that I really like paid attention and should have been like, okay, well, because I did later on on it, but she couldn't ask about later. But
okay.
So like his arms, and then we get in the truck or whatever, and then we drive off. So then we come back, and so I'm of course, and like I text Harley, I text Albert, what had happened, and I said, this is what happened. I tell Harley this is what happened. Don't panic when you come home, because the house at this point in time we get back in smells like nothing but smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing but smoke at this point in time. And it was just like, I couldn't get the smoke out. Even opening up the like windows and all those things, I couldn't get the smoke out. So that was.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie, when the TMZ information.
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise. You promise.
On purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, all right. So listen. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it. Okay. So we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever, cause we gotta get it fixed. So, lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out the house. Okay. You got it?
The video you just saw is an interaction between Letecia and Gannon after he accidentally lights a small fire from a candle falling on a carpet. How the carpet got burned, how such a small fire led to such big burn marks, to what extent was Gannon injured from these incidents are all a mystery, because the only witness to that is Letecia. However, we can draw one conclusion from this. Letecia is using the third technique, manipulation, and she misused the child's state of mind. In the video, you can hear how scared Gannon is, and she's further using the fourth technique of gaslighting him into believing that this is a bigger trouble than it was. She talks to him politely, but what stands out is her complete ignorance towards his injuries. It was found out that Gannon also got burnt here, but she did not bother asking or looking after him. This is yet another example of how Letecia tried to cover up her crimes by distracting others.
What explains those two? So I've got the bath salts, the candle, and now the foot injured in the garage. So tell me about that.
The foot injury.
Oh, sorry, before I go there, so we don't forget, you said peeling these later.
I just remember that on Monday his arm had a little bit of peeling to it. And that's when I said in my mind, and like I told the other lady that was here, that I did at that point say, I probably should like think about if later on after I put stuff on it, I need to think about if it gets worse, monitor the situation, like those type of things.
Did you put stuff on it or no?
Well, we had took that green aloe stuff and we had took and put the little, because the dog had get bit before, so I already had that little wrap stuff,
Okay.
And so we had already done that in that situation.
Did you put it on both arms?
I think it was on the right arm, I feel like.
And then when did you do that? Was that Sunday night, Monday morning, both?
I think it was Sunday night.
Okay.
No, actually it wasn't. It was through the night because we stayed up late. So it would have already been Monday morning hours, like into Monday morning hours.
So why were you guys up late?
Because we couldn't breathe. The smell was so stuck in the house from the smoke. We couldn't breathe, no matter what we did.
So where did you guys hang out until you could breathe?
We slept in our room, and then we opened all the windows downstairs.
Okay, and all four of you slept in.
So Lena, Harley, me, and him were in the room for a while. Then Gannon went to Lena's room at this point. Yeah. So then Gannon went to Lena's room for a while, but then he was in his room by the time he woke up. So I don't know if he got up in.
What time do you think you went to Lena's room? Was it after midnight or no?
Sure, I don't know.
When did you call him in sick? It was pretty early in the morning.
Well, we didn't. What happened is all I did was I called and asked about his stomach. It was nothing to do with anything to do with the fire or anything like that. My question was, I'd already given him Miralax, which was like, Miralax.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a prescription over the counter. I say whatever it is, prescription Miralax, glycerine or whatever. And I'd already given him that. And so then I also had X-Lax. And I thought, at what point can I not? Like, how much is enough? If I can't get him to pass this, at what point is there enough, or can I go ahead and do it like an enema or like? Albert can tell you, I've given him an enema before, and like things like that, because it gets so bad and they're just so big and they get clogged up. So that was the concern about how to get him to pass that. Because like for me, I have to I can drink 10 scoops of Miralax and it won't affect me at all. Yeah. And so I didn't want it to be where it was the squirts, and then also the combination is different than my stomach because, like I said, if I take 10 of them, I'm okay.
So he's having the squirts and he started having those in the hike, but he couldn't pass that whole evening. Is that right?
Right. He would get out balls, like big balls, but like couldn't get like the whole thing out. And that was sometimes if he finally, and then when he finally
it had
gets
to be painful,
one out,
wasn't it? Or...
For me, I lay in the bathroom and I'm in pain.
Yeah.
Like whenever.
Was he telling you he was in pain?
Well, he sits on the toilet. His common thing is that he'll sit on the toilet and just sit there and sit there and sit there. So as long as he's got something to focus with, Gannon's pain tolerance is very like high when it comes to just sitting there, like focusing and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
So he spent a lot of time in the bathroom that evening, just sitting there.
Yeah, off and on in the bathroom. We got kids meals, but he came out and ate his kids meal. So then it made him feel better. So I said,
McDonald's or what?
No, we Carl's Jr.'s.
Carl's Jr.
Yeah. So I had originally said Burger King, but that's not Burger King right there. That's Carl's Jr.
Got it.
Carl's Jr.'s. Yeah. Because I never go to Carl's Jr., but we got 2 kids meals, and I think I got something too. And Lena went with me to go get it. So he ate the kids meal when we got back.
But he still hadn't passed. So.
Well, if he ate, he had done something. He had already used it some because he wouldn't have eaten.
And had you given the Miralax before the meal then?
I'd already given Miralax like throughout the week. We always had this thing where if I went in there and took one of my shots, like of acai berries or something like that, he would take one too. So it was common for me to be like, okay, here, mix. And Albert would always say, go mix him up one of the drinks because we put in orange juice. Well, he didn't like juices as much unless it was like Kool-Aid juices, like sweet. So it was a common thing to always try to give Miralax to regulate the system. But the problem is, if you don't take the Vyvanse, say you don't take it for a day, like you didn't take it on Saturday, because family was in town, and say you don't take it on Saturday, and if you don't take it on Sunday, that's when it starts to happen. So that's when the constipation and the diarrhea kind of can go hand to hand. So like, let's say if he would have took it Saturday, and let's say he would have took it Sunday, he wouldn't have been as bad. Right. But then the problem is, Albert always would want him not on it if we're going to go do like a big time activity, because instead of having him like, zoned out on something, I mean, you would want your kid zoned out on something.
Yeah.
That was the
Vyvanse stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like the thing was, if we go somewhere that requires him to have like, massive amounts of things, then, that we don't want him to be under that Vyvanse and just have to be like zoned in. Mm-hmm. We want him to be able to like, especially like on the hike, I wanted him to be able to like run around and do things, because me and him were always on the top of all, like if we had hiked, we were always on the top of hikes. We were always the one, like,
right,
leading, doing everything.
At this time, the detectives still do not know the location of Gannon or his dead body. You may have noticed that whenever the detective refers to Gannon, he sounds fairly confident that they are looking for a dead body and not a missing child. She's using another technique to evade her responsibilities. She's minimizing the severity of the evidence. There was so much blood left behind on the scene that it is not possible for an 11-year-old Gannon to be alive after losing so much blood. The evidence spoke volumes and was enough not only to prosecute Letecia, but also to conclude that Gannon might have not survived. Letecia is downplaying the incidents and making them look like minimal injuries to make cover-up stories for them and explain other injuries occurring in different incidents.
So tell me about the next morning then. So now you're at home, Gannon's at home,
right?
Elena's at school. Tell me what happens then.
Right. So this is where I need help from everybody.
Yeah. And you can get help. I've, like I said, I've had some high-level informants that have told me some horrific things, and we've had to relocate them. We can get different names. But to do that, to kick that in motion, we need to know the story. We can't just say,
right,
oh, someone's got really important information.
Right. Well, that's where I would need someone to help guide me through this, because I want to help more than anything.
Well, that's why I'm here, because I'm representing Denver FBI, right, and then I have the ability to pull resources from Quantico, which is our behavior analysis unit. Everything comes out of there.
Right.
It's called SIRG, which is our incident response group. So right, this was a big enough case that the supervisor of the FBI asked me to come down from Denver, and I get all my training out there. So
right,
you you're not going to have better resources in this room right now. And I'm not bragging.
Right.
I've just been doing this stuff for a long time.
Right.
So if you tell me what happened and then you need protection, we can do all that stuff. So DEA doesn't have those capabilities. ATF doesn't. No. DEA just investigates drugs, and they're very good at it.
Right.
But the FBI, we're now worldwide, and we have offices Bogota to Russia to China to wherever.
Right.
So, and we get a lot more funding because of when September 11th happened. That changed everything for us. We were the nation's #1 law enforcement agency before then, but they gave us so many more resources since then.
Right.
And so I am specialized in missing kids and unusual homicides, including serial killings and whatever else. So I didn't get in right away on your case, but I have been working it for the past couple of weeks.
I wish I could have talked to you again.
Yeah. Well, I'm here now, and whatever you tell me, the worst thing I can do for people like you is if you have a story that requires your protection for the FBI, it would not be good for me to run out and say, oh, Letecia told me this, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
If this can help us find Gannon, we'll do whatever we can. Okay?
I'm not I just need protection for a family. And I swear to you.
Okay. Well, you can get that, but we have to know the story first.
So how am I supposed to get help talking to someone first before we talk to you? Because I'm willing to do that.
So here's your deal. If you need help, and if you want to go through the court process, that's fine. We leave, and then you work through the court process. But then it just becomes the whole focus of this, Letecia, right now you're the only one. You're the last one. You're the last adult with him. You're the last adult we know about with him. You have not told anybody anything else to lead us. We have been trying to work with Al to say, what does she say in that?
Yeah.
And the Quincy Brown thing and whatever else.
I was mad at him about all that. But a lot of it was keys to help you guys. But it should have just been, if I could have just reached out to someone to be like, I'm terrified for myself and for my family.
This is probably the first time you're seeing Letecia sit patiently and listen. This happens when Agent Grusing offers FBI resources in exchange for her cooperation in finding Gannon. From the beginning, the words Letecia had repeated the most are, "I need help," and this is what she meant from it. Letecia thinks that she's exceptionally smart to not say things directly, and yet make the agent understand. But what she does not understand is that her motive is entirely shallow and visible to even a person standing in the distance.
Well, what is that?
I'm just saying.
Well, Letecia, you've got to give me something here to work with. If you want to go through the court process, like I said on here, the last question, if you want to stop at any time, you are more than welcome to stop and say.
But it says you can have one present to talk to you.
Yep. And that will kick in the court process, and then we're done, which is fine. And if that's what you want. Okay, but the whole, if you need protection and that sort of thing, I can't get you there without you giving me something. So I listened to all the calls with Al, and I've seen the crime scene reports.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened in the bedroom was not Gannon slinging his blood on the wall.
Well, that's totally not even to do with anything.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so upset about bedrooms and all those things, because I understand you're an expert. I know that, but I'm telling you I'm gonna need protection. That's it. It's not me. I'm not the person.
So, but if you're not the person, the charges won't be different. Okay, if you allowed someone else to come in and do the things to Gannon that we know happened to him, you're just as guilty.
I didn't allow anyone, and I don't know of anything like you're talking about to be happening to Gannon. I do know that there's something I could tell you that can help you, will help me help everyone. But I do need that help.
Well, so let me tell you where I am. Okay. Like I said, I've been 23 years with the FBI. For the last 20, I've been working violent crime. And I've worked some of the worst cases. And it kind of messed me up a little bit, to be honest, seeing what I've seen. And I worked 20 years of bank robberies. So I always thought that you were going to have, I'm the FBI, I'm the good guy, bad people go rob banks. And that's not how it is. I've had to help arrest other FBI agents, police officers, people from the church, school resource officers. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. And on the other side, some of the bank robbers, one of them came out after serving a 10-year sentence, and we hit it off just fine, even though, we were on opposite sides of the fence. The thing that I have seen, though, throughout is when something very bad happens, people think they can't recover from it. And I do not think you are a bad person.
I'm not.
That's why I'm here. No, I don't.
I've
seen bad people.
And I know you tell people that to get them to help you.
No, I'm not. I would not have this approach with you if I thought you were a bad person. I think something bad happened. And I think that what I've seen a lot, whether it's you think that you can get out if you do this or this or this, that's where you are now. And you're hoping that one of these things can save you. They're not going to be able.
What do you mean? What were you talking about? Someone's not going to be able to save me.
There was nobody else there. Okay. We've looked at the alarms, we've looked at the motions, we've looked at the detectors.
The alarms are already covered up.
The alarms were already covered up.
Yes.
Okay. But
sir, I'm telling you, what you have is not you. I know you say you wouldn't sit here and say this to me if I wasn't whatever. I'm telling you, it is true. I would not and did not. Would not, did not. And with you guys having my phone, I would have thought that you would have had some of the apps looked into. Now, I would have thought that sometimes when I talked to Albert, you might have listened to them all or whatever. It could have been some help and indication on the apps. I really did. Because I couldn't come at you and just tell you if you say there's somebody not involved. I could walk you through it and prove it to you, and you guys have already had this predetermination. I don't mean you. I haven't this first time I spoke to you. You guys have already had this predetermination that that's what's going to happen. It's already in your mindset.
Yeah, because we have no other evidence pointing us elsewhere.
Agent Grusing tries to get Letecia to cooperate more by leveraging protection from the FBI. They are a larger agency, and they clearly have the resources to reallocate and protect a suspect. Letecia's strategy is to deny all charges and make a story logical enough to explain how Gannon went missing. And a deal with the FBI is the cherry on top in her plan to make a great escape. But Agent Grusing has made it crystal clear that he will not offer any help unless he has useful information. Letecia is brave to push falsified facts, but Agent Grusing is quick to confront and dismiss them.
So when I say something
I'll talk to you in private, but you can't tell Albert about anything that led up to it or anyone else.
Albert will not know.
I will. I understand that, but I will. But I need your help, and I need to know that you tell me there's resources. You tell me whatever. Okay. I know you're saying you got whatever, this and that and all that, but I really am going to need help, like a lot. Swear to you. Don't base it on some alarm reports because they can easily manipulate it.
Well, we're not just.
They easily were. I know. I'm saying when you were saying no one else was there.
So
when you say that, don't base it on that, please. I'm begging you, because that was not even remotely. It's not even it. Not even.
So you care about Gannon?
I care about Gannon. I have reached out every day offering for people to go in these certain places to get even insight to see. I've every day asked, hey, can you go do this? Can someone meet me here?
So you've asked someone to go look for him?
Right. Like I reached out and I asked Albert, I said, hey, can you meet me? Let me tell you about this and let's go to this location to look. I've asked all these.
What location do you think he's at now? Gannon?
No, I'm just saying like
No,
in general.
but I'm asking you.
In
right
general.
now, where do you think he is right now?
I don't know exactly. I don't know.
Well, where do you know him to last?
But I am 99% confident Gannon is alive.
Okay. Letecia, where do you know him to last be?
I want to help, sir, but I'm in a room and you've already talking about all this and the courts and it's me against everybody else.
So here's the deal. Once this thing goes through the courts, you talked about that. You're the only one to be with him. You think you're going to be able to tell a story.
A story?
It might be a true story.
Gosh, sir.
But listen, I've listened to a lot of your stories, and I don't know what else to tell them.
Yeah, okay, that's because I was mad at him. Had nothing. I already knew.
But I've seen what you told the news reporter. I've listened to what you told El Paso about the assault that happened in the house.
I already knew that you guys were listening to him.
Yeah.
So I said that because I was angry.
But what I think I can offer you today is some help.
Okay.
Okay.
Imagine being a parent in this situation. Your child or even your stepchild has been missing for a whole month. You don't know if they're eating well or even if they're safe. Even if you were a complete stranger to this child, you would care more than Letecia. Agent Grusing has realized that his strategies do not seem to be working, so he leans into her sole motive, and that is, quote unquote, getting help and resources. He frames his sentence in a way that would spark Letecia's interest, and that is when he has her listening patiently.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at your story, the ones that you've told to Al, the ones that you've said in the media, of hitting your head. When you hit your head, you didn't see what happened. And then when someone else takes Gannon, or when he's riding a bike and he hits his head and stuff like that.
Riding a bike. I just told you I was saying that to Albert because I was upset that he wasn't listening to me, that I did not hurt Gannon.
I don't think you intended to hurt Gannon at all.
There's no...
No, I'm not saying you did. Or he hurt himself. Something bad happened in his room.
No.
Have you seen the...
Sir.
You helped clean it off the wall.
Sir,
we know that.
This here, what you're talking about is completely irrelevant about the whole thinking mad, whatever.
Tell me about, if it's irrelevant, Letecia, help me. Because there's a big blood pool in the corner, there's spray on the wall.
Because if I tell you anything about any of that, all you're going to say to me is, hey, da-da-da-da.
If you didn't do it, no, I will be your advocate. Because why do we know each other?
No, but
Why would I care? If you didn't do it, and it helps me find Gannon?
I didn't do it.
Okay, well then help me find out who did.
Who did what?
That to Gannon in his room.
Done what to Gannon in his room?
There's a pool of blood in the corner.
Okay.
That's Gannon's blood.
Okay, so you're saying, now this is where I have a hard time knowing whether you're like, okay, trust you or not, right? You're saying there's a pool of blood. Albert said saucer size, because I'm sure you had him say all this, because I'm sure you were there, or whatever. Okay. In his room, and you said something about, what'd you say?
On the wall.
Okay. Then, if that's your whatever, your expert advice, or
there's
whatever.
More blood.
Okay. Then, where do you think that I had any involvement with Gannon, and where did he go? That's where it has to click at some point. That
a lot of the time, crimes happen in the most impulsive moments. We all have impulsive thoughts, but some people act on their dark and disturbing thoughts. If that was the case with Letecia, Agent tries to reassure her with the help of an old case. He tries to paint Letecia in a better light, but this only makes her get more defensive. Hence, there's an overexpression in her body language.
Because in here I even have what you entered in your phone. The stuff that you've entered and deleted. Like, blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling.
Do what? I didn't look this up.
It's from your phone.
Blood is what?
Spurting from an arterial bleed.
No.
Well, somebody did from your phone. I don't like my stepson.
No.
I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? Al Stauch cheating. I'll stalk Instagram. I'll stalk cheating in Colorado Springs. Catch Al Stauch cheating. How to get blood out of sheets.
Out of sheets?
Mm-hmm. I want immunity.
Oh, the blood out of sheets was because we always had always nosebleeds. If I ever looked up blood out of sheets, it was nosebleeds.
And I figured it might be something.
I didn't ever look up anything about an artery or something unless it went from something else.
It's on your phone.
And I never looked up anything about my stepson unless someone else did.
The reason I brought up gangs is you looked up, I want immunity because it was gang related. And this sounds like, find me a new husband, find me a rich guy who wants to take care of his kids.
The new husband is just because Albert already knew that was about the lady Debbie Sherrill who wanted to find a new husband after 35 or something. He picked me about Amazon.
And like a lot of these can have nothing to do with this.
It doesn't.
I get it. Can I spray paint wood?
Spray paint wood? Well, we always already would.
Yeah. I'm doing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help.
Oh, that bothered me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame
Oh,
you.
yes, because I wanted them to be mine. Like
what about
me to be their child.
Hit and run? You Googled a lot on Letecia and traffic accident, hit and run.
I didn't hit anybody.
No? What was that?
What date was it?
I don't have a date on these. I was downloading stuff as I was coming on the plane.
Yeah, no, I don't.
My husband wants a divorce. My husband wants a baby, but I want an abortion. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently, which I get that. Parenting should be for people, not one. Quotes a suicidal person might say. I mean, these make me very sad when I read them because I can see you're doing all the work at home by yourself.
Which I wanted to be there. Like, I wanted to totally have the kids as my children. That's the point you're not getting. Like, I wanted those kids to be saying to me that I'm their mom.
Yeah.
Like, I am the person who cares for them, loves them, everything. So you can think that.
What do you do if you suspect a person swallowed poison? Did somebody actually swallow poison?
Poison? I don't know. I always click things and read them.
Did somebody swallow it?
No one swallowed any poison.
Okay. You will never forgive me and treat me like a princess. You'll never know when it's too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always search for things when Albert was gone.
What is an Alford plea? Did you figure out what an Alford plea was?
Alford plea?
Yeah. ALFORD.
I think someone asked me that and I probably searched it.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Do you remember? What did you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember something. Because someone was writing that online. So if anyone wrote something online, I looked it up. Just like the other day, someone wrote something about FBI coming or something. And if I see something online, I always Google what someone else said and see what, what they're saying is matching what is saying online.
Right.
So I did that completely. I do that all the time for everything.
The list of things she searched will go on to become an important piece of information in the investigation. But here, you can see Letecia giving the most disappointing answers to explain it. She's almost used her Google search as a personal diary, not only asking implicating questions, but also writing statements of personal feelings. This gives us some insight into what Letecia may have been thinking at those times.
Okay, well,
if someone else took Gannon, we can find him.
Here, and I don't like that. I want to be able to have an emotional, raw conversation.
Let's do it now.
I can't.
I mean, we can't go anywhere. Where do you want to go?
Because I know people are sitting.
Nobody's sitting there.
Okay, someone's watching from there.
They are in the other room. It's the district attorney. Do you want me to tell them they can't watch?
No, I want to talk to someone in a raw, real conversation so you can see truly in my heart the situation. That's what I want.
That's what this is.
No, it's not, sir.
But how can I make
Who is
it
it? The district attorney from Colorado?
Yes.
Yeah, see? Come on.
I can ask them to leave the room.
No, it's not about leaving the room. It's about I'm asking for, instead of going through all, this, whatever, sitting here wasting our time or whatever, I'm asking just to talk to you. Because I'm taking your word that you're going to help me and you're going to provide the resources from wherever you said you have them.
Despite some very good attempts from Agent Grusing, he has not been able to get information out of Letecia. Every time he tries a new angle to try to make her speak, she talks her way out without giving any useful information. She mentions time and again that she needs resources and now has thrown more hesitancy in sharing information because she's conscious of the people who may be watching the interrogation behind the one-way mirror. He agrees to give in to her demands to hopefully get more cooperation later.
Hi. I'm with the district attorney's office.
Just so you know, I looked behind there. This place is under construction. There's no one back. I can walk you back there if you want to look.
Oh, no, I believe you. I was just talking about all these people watching.
Yeah, and Martha's been watching.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. John said you wanted to talk to me?
About protection?
So, I don't have any trust in anyone. And obviously, I know I've told him that I said things to Albert because I was mad and I said whatever. But how do I know that I'm going to get help? Like, because I didn't hurt you, okay, at all. But I need the help to figure out how we're going to get to you.
Let me read you what she wrote.
Okay.
Or I'll just show it to you.
And I wrote Saturday. I probably should,
The head thing was Saturday. It had nothing to do with this. Check my phone for an app. This was fine. So we do have your phone, and we have gone through, like, these are keystrokes.
Right. I'm talking about, like, it's when you download apps.
Did you have a different phone beside the one that was in your van? Did you have another phone? Like a second phone?
Yeah. No. It's the same phone.
It's the same phone?
Yeah. No, not the same phone. You guys have the phone. That was just someone else's phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at this time, that
yeah, I'm saying that's the same. The 843 is the 655 number.
But you didn't have a second one that this app might be on.
No. I only had this phone.
So, and let me explain, Martha. My understanding of what Letecia's asking is, how does she know, since I've said, if there's a bad guy or guys out there that did this to Gannon, that she can tell us where these guys are, and she's concerned for not only her safety, but the safety of her family.
Right.
And how can
he asked me would I trade my life for Gannon, and I said yes, but I said it's also other people. Like, how do I know that everyone else is not going to be like, you know? And how do I know that you guys aren't just trying to be like, whatever, if I walk you through anything or can help you with anything, I don't want to be just thrown somewhere, like being like, okay, well, you didn't tell me this, and I want to be able to help you and work together because I'm sure you have kids or grandkids or whatever. I do. I don't want to sound like I'm cold-hearted and I'm just tired of being like the person chased instead of being able to have someone to actually have compassion to help me.
Well, I was a little bit confused when I was watching it because John talked about how they're the FBI and they're the premier law enforcement agency that could protect you, could protect your entire family. And if Gannon's alive,
okay.
I can't make you any promises,
right?
Because obviously there's a lot of information that you have that we don't.
Okay.
So there aren't any promises. I can't come in here and promise you anything regarding the court case or the arrest warrant or your involvement in it.
Okay.
But I can tell you what the number one priority is.
Right.
And it's to find Gannon.
Right.
And so if you were talking to some small law enforcement agency and they said, sure, we'll protect you, I mean, I can see how you would be suspicious of that.
Well, you guys were the lead agency. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most elite agency there is.
Oh, okay.
And so if there was a time for you to feel like that you could protect
that recorder, we can.
Because I know you have yours. That's what I'm saying.
As a backup.
So if you want the recording turned off, you need to tell us really explicitly that that's your choice. Because the recording have been put into law so that there's not a debate where he says you said one thing and you said I didn't, right? So it's to protect the person being interviewed.
Right.
But if it's something that
it's not that I'm trying to, I just don't, it's just I wanted to have like a conversation with him, just him.
Here, Letecia will try another technique to evade her responsibilities. She will use the victim card in order to gain sympathy as District Attorney Martha enters the room. She thinks that attorney Martha will be more empathetic if she looks tired and helpless, and she will provide the help that she's been looking for. But this is not the plan. She had been sitting behind the one-way mirror observing Letecia's behavior. Agent Grusing has been very patient with her, but that is not what the attorney has planned to do. She's noticed that when a sympathetic tone is taken with Letecia, then she wastes Agent Grusing's time. Attorney Martha will be stern from the beginning.
I don't want you to think that this is being broadcast to the whole world.
Right.
You know, there's another DA with me. There's no Copley County person.
Right.
But they're the ones. What the reason that we do that also is I might miss something, and I probably do, and so then I can go talk to them and say, "What am I missing?" And then also it protects you because if I make a promise that I can't deliver on with the FBI, then Martha gets to hear it, and then she would knock on the door.
But as soon as I give you information, what's going to happen is someone's going to say, well, you were involved with this person. You were cheating with this person. You were doing this. I'm just giving you scenarios.
But that's a lot better situation than you're in right now.
But what if I wasn't? That's my thing. And that's where the burden of proof, I can't depend my life on the burden of proof to be involved with just someone thinking that I'm just a bad person. I did not hurt Gannon. Okay.
There aren't any promises I can make you about you. I can tell you that we're looking for the truth. And it seemed to me from listening to it that you had information, but I can't make you any promises.
But what I'm saying is, if you're saying to me, I have information, you're going to come and say, well, you should have given this information when I did nothing but attack. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
You can't armchair quarterback yourself, though. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't look into the future and say, well, we're going to say this because you said this. If what Martha and I are saying are true, and that our only focus is Gannon, we don't care who leads us there, we just need Gannon. Then you are protecting yourself by telling us this. If you never give us this information, then you don't protect yourself. And then we have one person to prosecute for Gannon.
Well, and our focus is who took him and who hurt him, not with when people came forward with information.
How do I know that? Because that's my biggest thing. I know you're saying that, but like whatever I can do to help, I can help you. But I'm saying, how do I know that if, let's just say, it's whatever, I tell you a specific person, okay? Let's just say that, okay? Then my thing is, well, your thing is going to be like, well, you held this information from me, and I'm having to utilize my resources, okay? And do all those things, not understanding that maybe sometimes there are people who are afraid of any other things going on.
Every day in my work, there are people who report things later than some people think they should. Every day. And we try to focus on the violent crime, and we certainly try to focus on the kids. I know that you want assurances, and you want me to be able to say, you know, I will or won't do this. And I can't make you promises because I'm in the dark, right? It would be foolish for me to make you promises, but I have people who late report assault all the time. We have people who come forward years later. Our interest is in the truth about the crime. This is really all conversation to have. And I know that you wanted to have a frank conversation with them where you could really tell them. So unless you need me, I'm going to step out.
Letecia wastes no time in presenting her demands to Attorney Martha, but as you can see from her expressions, she has no intention to cooperate. Attorney Martha doesn't even try to indulge her by talking about the possibility of getting her the resources, rather denies being able to help. This is having the opposite effect than what Letecia had hoped for. Attorney Martha counters her arguments each time, giving her little space to lie. An interesting observation is that Letecia is completely against the idea of being recorded for these interrogations. This can be for two reasons. She does not want to be convicted for those statements. She's embarrassed on how many others may perceive her based on this. Ironically, she may have never expected this to end up on the internet for millions to watch.
Okay, but you're still going back in the room.
Would you like us to turn it off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll turn it off.
How do I know that? And not that I don't want you to know
No.
anything. I want to be able to like really talk to him and just know that I can sincere see in your heart you're going to help me.
I can bring you back there and you can see us turn it off. But the truth is, I could just turn it back on again.
I know.
I mean, there's a point where no one can verify everything you want.
Well, plus, that's her life. She has to tell the truth, just like I to you when you don't want her to listen to you. You kind of have to look at logic here.
Okay.
I don't think Martha would throw away.
I don't want you to know. I want you to have all the information.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
So are you okay with the recording continuing? We just won't be monitoring.
No, I did. He said that we
You
wouldn't.
wanted to turn off?
He said I could just talk to him.
Okay. So we're just going to turn off the recording, and that's your choice. That's
Okay.
what you want, right?
Yes.
And so he controls the turning it off from here, or are they?
No, you'll have to ask.
Okay, I'll have to
Find
do.
someone.
And so it's just going to get turned off.
Okay.
And then once it's done, then I'll come back out and we'll turn it back on.
And it'll be a conversation between the two of you, and it'll be like the way law enforcement.
All right.
Anything else for me?
No.
I'm gonna go get him. Turn it off.
I know that they're not. So.
I'll go watch. Do you want me to
No,
do that?
it's fine. I just it's not that I don't want them to know anything. I just don't want it being like I know that people are leaking information.
That's not going to happen. That doesn't do us any good. From El Paso,
Mm-hmm.
the sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I've had this hard time with like trusting anybody. I actually was trying to reach out to the Barbara lady. You know Barbara?
Amber?
No, it's Barbara.
Who's Barbara?
She was like another, like an FBI lady. I was actually going to talk to her today.
Yes.
Okay. So apparently this recording runs 24/7, so it can't be turned off.
Okay.
But the other FBI agents, also they have a protocol where there has to be another person for security. Those are the choices we have. But we can move you to another room that's not being recorded if that's something that you want.
Okay.
But another FBI
But you'd
agent
have
would be
to
in
have
there.
another agent in the room.
Okay, is it someone you know?
You know them all.
Yeah, unless they're from a different office, and even then I've met most of the ones from Myrtle Beach.
Okay. That'll work.
So they'll go set up a room someplace else. And then we'll do it. It'll be the two FBI agents and you, and the recording speech or nothing. Okay.
Agent Grusing and attorney Martha agreed to let Letecia speak off camera because hours of interrogation have not been fruitful, and they believe that this may be the way to break the cycle. Attorney Martha also leaves, and Letecia seems pleased because she has understood that no one will cooperate with her as much as Agent Grusing has.
It's not that I don't want them to have information. I want to be able to like really get your help and you tell me that what steps can we take or what steps can you take, I guess, because you said you have an ability to do resources or whatever.
We find people all over the world. I'm finding a guy right now who changed his identity and went to Russia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just so you know, if you look on the paper, I did look that up. Only because I was just wondering, like, if you could, because I wanted to know, like, if someone was whatever, how could you tell really quickly to find them out?
Before we do all this stuff, I've never seen, and not to say it hasn't happened, someone take a kid and not ask for ransom, and the kid be okay.
No, I did. I sent them to the FBI those messages that you guys had on my phone. Yes. Did you get those?
I think you sent it to the FBI.
Whatever that email address is, I think it's that Barbara or something. I want to tell you what the name is. I think it's Barbara. So like.
Barbara from the FBI.
Yeah, she has her 720 number, and I feel like her name is Barbara. And my friend Amy has been talking to her a lot.
Are you sure she's from the FBI? Our numbers are all 303.
No, this is a 720 number.
She's not FBI. Her name's Barbara.
You can see how excited Letecia gets when she sees that Agent Grusing has finally started talking about the resources he can provide Letecia with. However, that is not the plan. As she gets excited at the possibility of the help she's been looking for, he immediately shoots it down. When he brings up ransom, that is when Letecia comes up with another lie and talks about Barbara. This is just another way to distract the conversation to something more meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not telling me or Bob Markham, the dad?
I didn't say I knew where Gannon was.
You said you know he's okay.
No, I said as a parent, I'm never going to sit here and say, look at you and say, he's not okay. That's not what I'm going to do because I didn't do this. So why would I look at you and say that? Like, I'm dead looking at you in the eye saying, I would never as a parent say that. No way could I ever say that. Because I love Gannon. I did not hurt Gannon. Okay.
I told you where most of these happen. They happen in the house with parents who love their kids.
I get what you're saying, okay? I understand. I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate all the work and time and dedication you put into all of these things to have those statistics. But I am not the one.
But then if you're not the one, you're going, so do you know what happens from here?
What?
You go to a local holding cell.
Okay.
They hold you for 24 hours up to 2 weeks until you get extradited back to Colorado.
Okay.
You're in jail, Letecia. And unless you tell me that somebody else did this, you're the only one that did it.
No, I didn't do it.
But I'm telling you.
But I didn't.
But that's what would be horrible, is if someone else did this, and you're going to let them skate because you're scared?
Not letting someone skate.
What could you possibly be scared of at this point?
I'm not letting. Do you think I would sit here and let someone skate if I could take you directly to the person right now? Why do you think I would need resources?
You don't need resources. Right now, what you need is that if someone took my son, and I know who it is, am I going to go to jail for the rest of my life because someone else took my son?
No, absolutely not.
No, and would I be afraid of my own protection going to jail when I could be free and that person could go to jail? That
but she just sit there. Even if I walked you to the person, she just sit there and said, "Oh, I can't make any promises."
You can't make promises, but which is better? To go to jail for the rest of your life and hope that we find the person, or to point us to a person? If I'm in your position, it makes no sense.
Right.
Well, what could you be scared of at this point? Reprisals?
No. The fact that you don't have. Apparently, you would have found some of this already if you would have had the resources. That's what scares me.
Found some of what?
Anything that would have led you to think whatever.
No, that doesn't make sense. Again.
Sir, it does. Or what did you say name? James? John?
John. Starts with a J, that's fine. Sorry. I'm not offended. Letecia, your story makes no sense. And what it goes back to now is that you can't take responsibility for what happened to Gannon.
I didn't do anything to Gannon, sir.
You can't insert someone else in here unless you're going to tell me who it is.
Hey, I didn't do anything to Gannon, sir.
That's fine.
After interrogating Letecia for so long and still getting no answers, Agent Grusing has also reached his limits. He's showing clear signs of discomfort, like adjusting his collar. He's also started getting more honest with her, instead of indulging her in her lies.
Okay, Letecia, for your request, you're just going to leave that recorder in there, and we're going to a room that doesn't record. Are you sure you don't need to go to the restroom?
I'm good.
I'm being nice in case somebody needs some lunch. Do you need anything to eat? Take your water with you just in case, please. Okay. I think it's right there. So to tell you back what we talked about, but
I don't, sir. If I'm not going to get any help, then I would just have to get help. Otherwise, I trusted you to talk to you.
Well, we went in there.
I know.
And I don't know, Letecia, if it's just the way you're used to communicating over a long period of time, but when you're asked a question, you don't really answer. You kind of go in a little circle. So if I said like, I said like, where did you last see Gannon? And then you say, well, it's supposed to drop off,
Yeah.
So we're just used to asking you a question and then you tell us an answer. And it's just,
I just don't. I've always said, talk and whatever. Just again, how I don't.
So, that's just how you've always done for like the last, 5-10 years?
I mean, most of the time, it's nothing like personal to anyone. I knew nobody was going to help me. So, it's like,
It's going to look bad.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's going to look like I was doing these bad things with people. And I just,
No, it's not even going to look like that.
yeah.
Here's what it's going to look like is that you were the last one with Gannon. Nothing on this angel thing we can't authenticate any of that. When you say it's all off camera, like with the black Impala in the parking lot, we have cameras for that whole place and we don't see you move your things like that.
Well, can you like show me that so that I can show you what direction?
But you would know where it is. Where did
I
you
said
meet?
what direction, because I'm not from Colorado, so I can show you like on camera the video that you're talking about, what direction, like where it would be at. So maybe you could pull, like, if you wanted to pull a camera off at another place. I mean, because there's lots of places you could have pulled a camera off of. That's all I'm asking for. I mean,
Yeah.
that's offering help.
Yeah, it's help, but Gannon goes into this car. I mean, this is a person that you trust.
I do.
Right?
That's the thing. What am I supposed to do?
So then why would you go home and say that he's here, that he's now gone away, that you're leading?
I never said he was here now gone
Well,
away.
that he was at the house.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you see where I'm going with that? Why would you make up that story to law enforcement?
What story?
That he was going to a friend's house.
Because if her nephew was a friend. I mean, I don't understand how that's a problem.
Angel's nephew was a friend. Oh, that's right, that they had played together. But did she live in your area?
Yeah.
Where did she live?
Again, I'm like constantly, like stuff will come through, and it will be people sending stuff, saying stuff.
But the people, are they different people from Angel? I mean, are they acting on her behalf? Because that doesn't sound like a friend to me.
Obviously, if they're not helping with your child, they're not friends. But how do you think that makes someone look? You know, trusting people. You see, doesn't that make someone look like they're irresponsible? Not trusting people, trusting someone. Okay.
Do you know who tells the story from here on out? Your story?
I asked for help.
But do you know who tells the story? How this works out from here?
Could have taken you to do a lot of things. You could watch me on my phone do a lot of things.
There is an Angel. Well, just like we found Quincy Brown right away, we can find Angel. But if there's not an Angel, that's the last story you're going to tell law enforcement about Gannon.
Sure.
But I mean, we'll get your warrants for that threes thing, whatever else. We'll go interview this Angel, and if it's like what I think Quincy Brown is,
okay,
then Angel's just
you're
going
not trying to help me.
I will help you.
Okay, well, I tried. I tried to get your help. When I gave you the rawest information, I tried to get help, but you wouldn't help me.
But I think I can help you. How is that?
I help him be find him. That's how. Believing.
Agent Grusing and Letecia have gone to a non-recorded interrogation for about 40 minutes. Whatever hopes Agent Grusing had for hearing some parts of the truth have been shattered. As for Letecia, she's realized that she will not get the help she wants, so she turns into the second stage of a functioning liar's breakdown, evasion. Letecia has realized that her terms will not be met, and even though she's not been very informative so far, she was still being cooperative. But after this point, she will also evade her responsibility of sharing that information. You'll notice how different her body language is now as compared to before. This is the physical manifestation of her harsh realization. In her narcissistic way of thinking, the last thing she wants is to be faced with reality.
Well, then can you tell me how that blood got on the wall?
Sure.
That's Gannon's blood on the wall.
Okay, well, I guess, sir, if you think you have all the answers, then
You're making me guess.
I'm not.
You've got the answers.
I'm not making you guess, sir. I'm going to be respectful to you because you offered to help me. You didn't help me, so I'm just going to sit here.
But it doesn't work like it does on TV. Have you ever watched Criminal Minds or Profilers?
I don't watch any of that stuff because I don't do bad things to people.
No, good people watch those shows.
I don't do any of that. I don't do bad things to people.
All I was going to say is it's not like on TV. If someone presents us with evidence, then we just follow the evidence.
Okay.
Right now, you're the last person with Gannon.
Then I don't do bad things to people. I don't.
I don't think you do bad things to people.
I don't do bad things to anyone, and I didn't do anything bad to Gannon.
I think something bad happened to Gannon, and I don't know of a way to get you to tell me about it.
Okay.
I tried through Al to get you to tell me about it. We've tried here.
Okay.
You came, and I think you have a defense mechanism. And I think your defense mechanism was, you need to go into another room, you tell us.
No, that was not no defense mechanism. I trusted you to talk to you because I thought you would help.
If you trusted me to talk to me, you would tell me where Gannon is right now.
I don't know where Gannon is.
You do. You know where he last was, and it wasn't at the Petco.
Okay, then.
But see, you can't make me guess. That's not fair to me.
Why would I keep talking if you're not going to help me?
You tell me how to help you.
I already did. I already did tell you. I told you how you could help. And you...
Nobody holds a kid like that.
Okay, that's what you think.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
If the sun comes up in the morning, it goes down at night every day. We have worked hundreds of these things.
If that's what you think. Okay. Me talking to you is not going to do anything else because all you're going to do is go think that you're going to get me to say something that I did that I didn't do.
That is not what I want.
Because I did not do anything to Gannon. Why would I hurt our child? I had everything in the world. Why? I have no motive. None. Don't have the first motive. Everything I wanted in my life, I had it. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense a lot of the time what happens inside of a house.
And sir, I don't even know what you're talking about. All I can tell you is I did not hurt you. I have no reason to. In fact, to go on the record, I had a way better relationship with Gannon than I did with Lena. Way better. Because we were so much alike. We always like the same things. We always have problems with our stomach. We always do all these things.
Do you know that there's almost a correlation sometimes between how much you get along with someone and how bad things happen in the house? I'm telling you that, Tisha.
I don't. Well, maybe bad things happen in your house.
They happen in the house a lot more than they do out in public.
Maybe bad things happen in your house. But
would it help if we showed you pictures of what we saw on the wall and by the bed?
Sir.
When you say nothing bad happened, you can't get around. Yes, Al, but we did not show Al that on purpose. He had to come get stuff out of the house. And he looked and saw the blood pool was about this big on the concrete.
Okay.
The confidence that Letecia shows is appalling, to say the least. Her interrogation seems theatrical at times. Her expressions and body language are very different from a normal person. She moves her body more and stresses on words more in an exaggerated manner. And the lies are so unbelievably far from reality that it's hard to believe someone is saying this, let alone to the FBI. It's not shocking to see Agent Grusing get more confrontational with her. In fact, he should still be applauded for still maintaining the patience to call her attempts at wasting time communicating for a long period of time.
Police, the very first night that he was taken forcibly, everything would have been different.
That's not forcibly, okay? I said exactly what I said, which was he didn't come back at 6 o'clock.
If you would have said other people have him and they should not have him, it would have been different. You controlled the way that law enforcement responded.
I did. So now it's my fault that they
yes, by you saying he's walking over to play with a friend.
Had people in there doing a supposed crime scene, and now you have all this stuff after you let people live there. And now you want to look at me and say something. Sir, I did not hurt Gannon. Okay?
Okay, well, who did?
Did not.
Who did?
Did not. Just like all of the other things.
Why are you telling me you did not? I don't care if you did or not.
I'm just telling you. Yes, you do care.
No, I don't.
You're your father. You would care.
I care about Gannon. I don't care if you did it or not.
Sir, I didn't. Okay.
But you're saying you did it, but that doesn't help us find you.
Okay, well, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. I would not. No motive. No reason.
I'm asking you about
to hurt our child. No reason.
Who did?
No reason. No reason.
Why would you give us stories that go in other directions?
I'm not, sir. You're not going to help me. You proved you were not going to help me.
If you give us a story with no leads.
Okay. Well, you proved you're not going to help me, so you did, sir. To hurt Gannon, innocent, loving, help me out more than any person in the household. More than Albert. More than anyone. Help me.
I'm not
Help
saying
me.
Gannon's a bad kid.
No, help me. Do you know how much you'd be helping me? With everything, pulling everybody else's slack. Who did it? Gannon.
Yeah, and I think that's why this is so hard.
No, it's not. You're right. It's hard, you're right. It's hard because I didn't hurt Gannon. That's why it's hard. So to not have him helping me, that is hard too. Very hard. Knowing that right now, sitting at home, Gannon knowing the situation, you know what Gannon would do? He would wait on me anything I would ask him just to make sure I was okay. Anything.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh, he would. Before even Albert would even do it, he would. If he was sitting here right now and needed anything from me to ask him to do anything, he would do it. So there's no intention, motive, reasoning, nothing for Gannon. Nothing to hurt him in any kind of way. None.
As the interrogation progresses, yet another technique is used by Letecia to evade responsibility. In the seventh technique of being defensive, we see that Letecia is completely irritated and backed into a corner. Did you know that people with high levels of narcissism tend to respond very defensively when their positive self-evaluations are threatened? So far, Letecia thought that she could get away with her crimes, but she's now seeing that it will not be possible anymore. So she tries to portray a very positive picture of hers and Gannon's relationship. Letecia genuinely wishes to go on the record because she does use her good relationship with Gannon as a defense later in her trials.
Or information, or all these things. Yes.
Your argument isn't going to work, Letecia.
Argument about what?
Your argument that somebody took him. You're not going to be able to tell that story.
Okay.
If you help us today find out where Gannon is, if you because I have 100% confidence that you can tell me exactly where you last left Gannon.
Okay. Now you're accusing me.
I'm just telling you what the research shows, what our investigation shows.
I'm
Then
glad
listen.
that you have research though. So.
It will look much better for you.
I didn't do anything. So what do you want me to look better at? I didn't do anything.
Are you going to tell me right now that the last place you saw Gannon was really him getting into an Impala?
Sir, I'm not going to say anything because you're not trying to help me.
Finding Gannon would help you.
Oh, yeah, I know. Don't you think that?
Then tell me.
Don't you think that? Don't you?
I know it.
Really don't think that?
So tell me where he is and let me help you.
I don't know where he is.
Where did you last see him?
I'm not, sir. I'm not. You prove that you are not going to help me. Okay, you did.
Letecia is made to face the fact that she's the reason why the investigation has proceeded the way it has. From the beginning, she has been lying to the police and sending them in every direction to look for Gannon while she knew all this while where he was. She still had the audacity to question the agent about his mistakes in the process. He has rightfully shown her a mirror and how this is actually her fault.
Do you know why I told you about that? I normally don't do this. Tell everybody all the evidence against them. Why do you think?
I don't know.
Because I think if you're to weigh this on, there's enough probable cause. A judge in Colorado Springs and El Paso has signed a probable cause warrant for first-degree murder.
Okay.
And all this evidence, and I'm telling you about the ones that I know about, and that's before you do, all the phone stuff, et cetera, and then versus you taking a chance that you're going to get off.
I'm not taking a chance for nothing because I didn't do anything, sir. Okay, sir.
If you say you didn't do anything, do you know what an innocent person would do? I have had plenty of innocent people sitting in your chair. Do you know what an innocent person would do? They would be freaking out.
I know.
You are not freaking out.
Yeah, right. You think I haven't freaked out?
I heard you freak out on the phone one time.
You think I haven't freaked out for days? You can't judge the way I freak something out one way and another way.
I have had the wrong person in a room like this before, and trust me, if they had any idea who did it, they would tell me.
Okay, well,
that makes no sense, and no jury will buy. No jury's going to buy that you sit here with an answer that somebody else took Gannon that all this head wound and all
Okay, sir.
this stuff happened in there. Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about?
Sir, I never question anything.
But you must, because you're taking a huge chance, Letecia.
Sir, I'm not taking any chance.
How are you not taking
Because
a chance?
I know the man upstairs knows I did not do anything again.
Well, he's not going to be on the jury.
Okay. All right, we're not going to go there with that. We're not going to go
We're
there.
going to sensible people who we're going to present evidence in front of.
Let me tell you what. There's a higher power.
There
That
is.
higher power
Yes.
will make sure.
I believe in the higher power as well.
I'm glad you do, sir. That really makes me feel a lot better. It really does. I'm serious. So then you know.
But Letecia, if this comes down to common sense,
I do have
and these
common
prosecutors, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about who you're going to be sitting in front of.
Okay.
And if you're going to take a chance that they're not going to listen to all this evidence, all this blood, all these stories that you told about Gannon, and that you have the key to finding him and you don't do it, there's nobody else to prosecute.
Okay.
Why won't you go there?
I'm not. Why am I? What else am I going to say?
The easiest thing to tell me is the last time you saw Gannon.
I've already talked to you. I've already told you I did not hurt Gannon. Okay.
But then what do I need to go through again the other things that might have happened to Gannon?
Sir, you don't need to go.
Where did you
anything.
gently place Gannon?
What?
I don't know how to phrase it.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, because I don't know where he is. If you want me to use a different verb or whatever, I'm struggling.
Now we enter the third stage of a functioning liar's breakdown, which is breach. If you look at the beginning of the video and look at Letecia now, her body language is the opposite of what she started with. She has started to get balled up in a corner. Her comfort zone of being in a position of actively lying has been breached. Not only has she realized that she will not be protected, but also that none of her new stories will be considered. The agent too has picked up a firmer tone, but this does not have the effect he wishes to see. She still blabbers about random events, however she still has not shared any useful information.
When I woke up this morning, I watched a story about Ron Miller. So he started this church and he ended up like getting talked down to, bullied online, treated like crap, accused of things he didn't do, and that's where he went to the accusations part. And so he went down this whole trail talking about how accusations and how this did to him and what he had to go through and all that.
Okay.
But in the end, he kept his faith in Jesus Christ. You know about the story of Paul, you know about Saul in the Bible. Okay, I can walk you through a lot in the Bible. If you know what I'm talking about. So he turned those accusations into just keeping steadfast and staying strong, into believing God's going to do this and keeping whatever. Because, in the Bible, they persecuted a lot of Christians, right? A lot of them for things they didn't do right.
Correct.
But, there's a lot of stories where God made sure they were okay. So when I woke up this morning, I literally decided, God, you can take this and you can either A, bring Gannon home, bring him to the front step, drop him off, so that I can please never have to worry about this again.
Right.
Or you can let me just stay focused on believing in you, as in him, and just the truth will come out. And it's okay, because I don't want to sit here and accuse all these people of whatever. I'm not going to turn those same accusations against them for saying this and saying that, not believing this, not believing that. I'm just going to just sit there and say, I know I did not hurt Gannon.
But I get you, and thank you for that story.
So,
I agree with everything you said. No, I'd love to tell stories. Stories, you take it like it's a bad thing. So, I believe that the whole book you're talking about, the story about God in the Bible, involves sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Does it not?
I did sacrifice.
Greater love, what? Has what? No man. Then to what?
Laid on his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have
I think
a life.
I know it, did you?
No, I figured you did. I wouldn't. And this is not to embarrass you, because I know you are a God follower.
Mm-hmm. And I went to Liberty University, so I just in a lot of my time
Yeah.
studying Christian.
And that's why I don't get that if Gannon is alive, you would not sacrifice yourself for him right now. If you've studied that your entire life, I believe that. If my kid were alive, I promise you, right now, I would go step in front of a truck and let it hit me if that would bring him back home, and so my wife could live with him, and so my sister, or his sister, could live with him. Since you studied that your whole life, if Gannon were alive, you would sacrifice yourself for him.
You're right. If I could get you to him, I definitely would.
You could. And all this BS about you saying it's here, it's there, giving us names.
Okay.
You would not do that, Letecia.
Sure.
Letecia, you are not that type of person. If he were still around, you would not do that.
Why would you even say that? Like, this is what drives me crazy.
Because if Gannon's alive.
Really, you were about to say it. You were really about to say it. I can't even believe that.
Say
wow.
You said if Gannon was alive, you would do everything, including sacrificing yourself, to get us to him. That says he's not alive.
Oh.
The last line of defense for the most despicable people is always religion. They use higher power to explain the evils they do because they do not want to be held accountable for their own wrongdoings. Letecia is the perfect example of this. She cannot face the reality of the horrible crime she has committed, so to maintain high ground, she takes to her last resort. Agent Grusing too makes an attempt to plead to the religious side in her, but this too was in vain.
That's not a guilt or innocence question. Just your last image of Gannon. Okay, now you don't have to tell me the last time you saw him, just your last image in your head. What's the last image in your head you have of him?
Smiling.
Or was he?
Yeah, you said last image. That's the image.
I mean, was he sitting? Is he standing? Is he laying down? What's he doing?
Walking.
Towards you or away from you?
Away.
I don't have the answers, Letecia. But I will help you if I can, but I can't. What I've got right now. Well, I think we're done, Letecia.
Okay.
So from here, like I said, you're going to have to go to whatever the jail that holds you in. Colorado's got the warrant, so they're going to transport you then.
Okay.
Do you have anything else for me? I think we've talked for long enough today, but if you have something you want to say, I'll sit here for another 4 hours.
All right. Well, where's the warrant?
The warrant's in the system. It's in the NCIC is what they call it. That's what they fixed you up on today, was the arrest warrant from Colorado.
Okay.
So you're going to be going back there. Anything else?
What am I getting charged with again?
First-degree murder for Gannon Stauch.
It becomes hard to remember what the point of the interrogation was. Letecia had completely and selfishly taken over the conversation, and it's easy to forget that there is an 11-year-old child missing. Despite what the evidence had cruelly suggested, there were many who were hanging on to hope, praying that Gannon would be found alive. The only person who could tell his whereabouts was Letecia. The goal of this investigation was to get clues on how to find Gannon, but Letecia has dashed all hopes. The interrogation has come to an end, and on a very bad note, because they failed to get information on Gannon. And while this interrogation and the evidence collected so far is enough to prosecute Letecia, the case of Gannon is still lost. On March 18, 2020, Gannon's remains were found under a bridge in Pace, Florida, more than 1,300 miles away from his home. The cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma and sharp force injuries. It was found that he had been stabbed 18 times. Search teams used drones, dogs, horses, helicopters, and divers to comb through various areas of interest, and thousands of hours were spent in looking for him. Letecia Stauch pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity and claimed she had dissociative identity disorder, which results in multiple personalities within the same individual. Dissociative identity disorder is a mental health condition. A person living with DID will have 2 or more separate identities. These personalities control their behavior at different times. Each identity has its own personal history, traits, likes, and dislikes. She claimed that this was triggered due to abuse she faced in her childhood. She also accused her husband of being involved in Gannon's death and alleged that he had connections to drug cartels and sex trafficking rings. However, she was found competent to stand trial by a state mental hospital, and her claims were dismissed by the court as unfounded. On May 9, 2023, after a 2-week trial that included testimonies from Gannon's biological parents, teachers, friends, investigators, forensic experts, and witnesses, Letecia Stauch was found guilty of all charges by a jury. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 156 years by Judge Gregory Werner, who boiled down to tears after seeing Albert Stauch's testimony. He called her actions the most horrific I have ever seen, and said that she deserved the maximum sentence that I can impose according to Colorado law. Do you think that Agent Grusing managed to do justice as the interrogator for Gannon's murder? Or maybe some other techniques, or perhaps another agent would have been able to get the facts faster? What are your thoughts on this? Comment down below. If you have any such cases that you want us to cover, add them in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such content. We hope to see you in the next video on our channel.